Today, we will be chatting with Dr. Luther, who will be offering a breakfast symposium during our conference this year. Dr. Luther, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
So this year, during the Fsoma Acupuncture and Asian Medicines Conference, you will be lecturing on protect yourself before you wreck yourself. Can you tell us what inspired you and led you to create this class?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a chiropractor by license. And about 15 years ago, my wife is a chiropractor too, but we were audited by an insurance company. And the end result of that audit is they wanted $500,000 back from us for incorrect documentation and office procedures. So that cost me a lot of money, a lot of heartache. And if I could somehow spread that, help you or other providers, all providers for that matter, avoid some of the issues that we went through, I can literally audit-proof your practice with one simple piece of paper. And I will explain what that all means. There's more to it, obviously, but literally one simple piece of paper can help protect yourself before you wreck yourself. So that's all. Audit-proof your practice.
Absolutely. This is an important class. So I don't think this is a clinical application, but can you tell us more about this class that you'll be teaching?
Yeah. Well, clinical stuff is super important, and we all got where we are by passing a lot of tests and taking a lot of exams and going to a lot of school. But the realities of owning a business is there's a lot more to running a business than just clinical knowledge. So if I could somehow help you simplify so you can just focus on the clinical stuff, that'll allow you to be a much better practitioner, because you don't have to worry about a lot of the gobbledygook that goes on with running a practice, the behind the scenes stuff, administrative stuff. So if I could take that out of your daily routine somehow and help you just focus on the clinical stuff, that'll allow you to be a much better practitioner.
Absolutely. So for the next question, I think you already mentioned a little bit about it, but what are the benefits of taking your class?
Well, there's a lot of providers right now in your day-to-day routine. It feels like we're walking on eggshells with compliance, billing insurance companies, covering all of our documentation procedures, running a business. So if I could, and like I said earlier, just take some of that worry out of your day-to-day routine, so that when you practice, when you go to work that day, you can focus 100% of what you're doing on the patient. That would really benefit the patient, that would benefit you, and you wouldn't feel so, I guess, vulnerable or looking over your shoulder on a day-to-day routine, so that ultimately you can be a better practitioner. You can do what you love and not worry about some of the negative stuff behind the scenes.
Excellent. So can you share us with your professional history?
Yeah. Well, I'm a chiropractor, like I said earlier. My wife is also a chiropractor, and I also own multiple companies related to healthcare financing, healthcare patient compliance, as well as my own chiropractic clinic still to this day. And I still see patients to this day, but I wanted to kind of spread some of my knowledge base and help providers deal with the business side of things, if you may. And we always want to focus on the patient side of things, which is super important. If we're not a good practitioner, we're not a good provider, that won't help us out in the big picture. But reality is we have to also focus on the business side of things and protect ourselves so that we can do what we do, and we can do that for a long time in the near future and the future as well.
Absolutely. Okay, and finally, could you describe a case where you or one of your clients had the best success using the knowledge you will be sharing during your class?
Yeah. Well, it's simple, quite frankly. With these pieces, I can say one piece of paper, but I might just give you two pieces of paper and kind of explain some other things there. But what happens is if you could put yourself in the eyes of an insurance company. Now, insurance companies have certain rules they have to follow. Now, some of those rules are how insurance companies like work with patients. Some of those rules are how insurance companies work with a certain provider. But there's also other rules that are involved, specifically HIPAA. And a lot of us, and every single one of us, are very familiar with how HIPAA relates to privacy. But there are some little curveballs I can show you about how to integrate HIPAA into how you deal with insurance companies that will dictate how much or how little, for that matter, that you do give insurance companies. And there's also a thing called ERISA. And ERISA is a fancy schmancy word. It stands for Employee Retirement Income Security Act. Just forget that. You're going to forget it anyway. But it sets a lot of the ground rules with how insurance companies deal with patients, how they deal with providers. And once you know the law, you can use that to your advantage instead of just practicing blind, thinking good things are going to happen at the end of the year, end of the day. But once you know the rules, you can use those rules and leverage those rules to your advantage as a provider. So what you don't know can hurt you. And that's what it is all about, is understanding what the law is, understanding what it means, understanding what you can do, and more importantly, what you can't do. And so it helps you fly, so to speak, spread your wings without your blinders on, because you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to meet you in person. So thank you, Dr. Luther, for sharing your valuable time and knowledge with us today. So as a reminder, Dr. Luther will be lecturing on Sunday, August 27 at 7:30 a.m. for a breakfast symposium. So those that attend will earn 1 CEU and enjoy breakfast. You need to RSVP to save your spot. Thank you again, Dr. Luther, and we will see all of you at the conference.
Thank you very much.